All right, hey, welcome back, everyone. It's good to have you back on this Wednesday evening, and a lot has happened. I did not stream yesterday, so we've got a lot of news to cover. First of all, we were at that level for Bitcoin at 112,000. I mentioned the resistance is going to be right here, and it seems like we are kind of hovering at it, trying to push forward. When we do, the breakout's going to be good, and I think it would push us to overbought territory. So we're going to be discussing more about that in detail, of course. Super Trend's already gone ahead and flipped bullish. That is great. We've got a lot of news to talk about. So much stuff, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to cover it all. Some of it I'm going to have to push over to tomorrow. And I mean, for the rest of the stuff that I will be talking about today, I don't even know if I'll have enough time, but I'll try to get through it as best as I can. I like to ramble on, but seems like, I don't know, maybe you guys like that. So we'll see. Look at this, guys. Finally green, except for Sonic and Stellar. Surprisingly, I'm not too concerned about them, though. I'm pretty content with what we've got going on. Finally positive for Bitcoin. Like I said, once I'm above 112k, I'll be in the green and things will be awesome once again. In terms of news, we got to talk about Trump. Remember how I mentioned there were rumors that he may have died because he did not show up for like a week? Well, he showed up and made an announcement. We'll be discussing about that. We had Jolt's job offerings, whatever. Irrelevant economic data that happened to, reinforce our market push forward, which is good overall. And some updates that we've got for World Liberty Financial, how it's been performing, what people are saying about it, what people are doing with it, what I'm going to do with it. So we'll be discussing that as well. That's all that comes to mind for now. Support for Bitcoin 107,000 now. Obviously, this floor that we did not break below. I mentioned like the support after this level was a little odd after the 108. After my entry, I was like, okay, what's the real floor here? Turns out it was 107,231. No lower than that. Hopefully not. Uptrend is kind of starting now, and I like to see that. This means, of course, that the initial support I had planned at 104,000 will likely not get hit, and of course not the 98,000 neither. So that's good overall. Bull run is still intact. I think that may have indeed been the bottom because I've been saying this for the past week now. Why are we dropping? There's no good reason for us to be dropping. What are you scared of a 80% chance of us getting a rate cut? That's a good thing. Now that percentage has risen up to 90%, I have so many tabs open, I'm not even going to bother showing you the percentage, but if I remember at the end, which I probably will, because I'll discuss about what we'll be expecting for the rest of this week, yeah, I'll show that chart and we'll see where we're at in terms of percentages. What's next for Bitcoin? I also have to open a new tab either way. Liquidation levels is all you really got to look at, right? Let me go to a bit of a larger time frame. Can we get this up here? So, breaking out of this, I mean, I think we're going to shoot up immediately to 117,000. And a couple of reasons why I do believe that as well. First of all, resistance, 117. And CME gap that was still not filled, if you happen to believe in that. I personally don't, but it's something that other people pay attention to, so I figured, you know what, that might happen. And look, I even drew this projection already from before. This is the Bitcoin provided by CME. It has gaps because they don't open on the weekends. And of course, we ended a Friday with a good pump from Jerome Powell. And then we opened on Monday all the way down here at 113,000 from 117. And we never filled that gap. And I think this week may be the week that pushes it up, with the catalyst being, of course, rate cut hype. That's what I meant to say. And non-farm payroll to boost that engagement, that enthusiasm, whatever. It should be good. So that's what I am expecting for this week. like I said, finally positive. That's good. I will try to get through these as best as I can. Most of them you're just going to notice, oh, we're recovering ground. Ethereum didn't drop to where I would like it to, so it is what it is. Didn't want to enter it anyway. I'm gonna keep the order there, just in case, you know. Solana's already taken off. It is what it is. 210 the current price of Solana. I didn't mention Ethereum, sorry. 4,467 for Ethereum. Solana, it never really flipped to a negative trend, right? So Solana's been staying really strong, doing its best to hold itself above 200, and it looks like it will likely maintain that. We got the momentum, and it's looking... Look at this super trend spiking up to 194 already. So that's good. The reason I had this trigger order here was because there's a Fibonacci support here, which did get hit on the first come down, but I didn't put my order until after that. Stupidly, I should have probably put an order here, but it's fine. My original order was at 187 is where I was expecting it to drop at the time, but seems like that's no longer going to be a possibility. I will keep the orders there nonetheless. Moving on, we've got XRP, which we have bottomed out finally at 269. I think I covered that level 2 days ago. We have since then risen to a high of 288. Current price is 283. I have my average price at 279 from 2 orders. One I think I purchased, and one of these 2 drops. And then the second one I hit a good buy right over here as well. I think at 273. Is that what it said? Yeah, 273. So that brought my average price down from 282 to 279. So I'm pretty content with that. I'm not as bullish as people would like me to be on XRP, but it's fine. Downtrend is still there though. We're gonna need some catalyst to push us forward for XRP. So seems like it's lagging behind the rest. Sui is also one of the few, surprisingly, that is lagging behind the rest. And I've always mentioned this for this cycle. Best play, in my opinion, if you're comparing XRP or Sui, it's going to be Sui. But for the long term, of course, you're going to want to stick with something like XRP. They're roughly around the same prices. My thought process, I mentioned it way before, back when they were both at $2. Sui rose to $4. XRP is just now trying to struggle to get past $3. Sui is already at $3.37, that kind of deal. So I think Sui is the better play for the cycle. That's why I have more in Sui compared to what I have in XRP. And Sui is finally positive as well. I'm glad. But we're still in a downtrend. Got to break out of this resistance right over here, 345. Then we can be happy again for real and start readjusting these uptrends or whatever. I'm just going to have to delete for now. Hoping that the bottom was indeed 310. Had a trigger order at 303, which did not get filled. That's fine. We'll continue forward. Cardano is at 83 cents. I have my average price at 82. So that is also in profit. In terms of resistances, okay, that is a good question. First of all, we're going to have to get rid of this Fibonacci if we're no longer expecting support levels. Considering that this 78 cents was the bottom, we can draw something like this and figure out that, okay, we're at one of those levels right now. We have enough momentum to continue, and you're looking at 86 as a resistance. 87 maybe. I would average out these 3. Downtrend, down super trend, right? Fibonacci and this pivot level. You can basically say it's around 86, 87. We're at 83 right now, so still a bit of room to run for Cardano before we meet up with some real resistance, you know. Chainlink is at $23. It did just flip to a red trend, super trend, right? So I think this is still telling a bit too early. I would stick with the downtrend that I drew over here. So that means literally just a breakout of where we are right here. Could take us to something like 24, maybe $25. I know it's a bit too early to tell for now, but I mean, Chainlink has been doing so well so far. So I don't know if it'll be able to keep up with that momentum. We'll see though. Litecoin, this is unfortunate, did not hit my order, so I'm stuck with my average price at 112. Still positive for now. And same with Chainlink, by the way, was also positive. Very slightly, so things are slowly starting to turn a little green for me, which I'm happy with. A lot of room to run for Litecoin as well. I still think it is also one of the more undervalued coins. So pay attention to that, and we'll see how it performs. It's supposed to be the digital silver, you know. Stellar is not been rising, but it's the one where I have, out of all my altcoins, the most in. 33 cents order did not get filled. We bottomed at 34. We're at 36 cents right now. We have a clear resistance at 37, and that is where my average price is as well. And like I said, it's the same deal. Very similar build-up in terms of price action to what I have with Bitcoin. Like I needed, this was like the 112 instance, right? If Bitcoin was to rise to hit 112,000, that was also where my entry price was. Stellar did not do that, right? It's still struggling. It hits 36.8 as a resistance, so we're at 36.0 right now. But I still have good faith in the project, and I do believe it will rise. I have my take profit already set at 49. Should be good. Breakout of 37 is what I'm expecting for Stellar. We're dropping. That's great. I think that's all. I mean, you already know my other positions with Aptos. Nothing much has changed. And then my meme coin plays, Pengu and Pepe, are performing well so far. Aave is another coin that I do have, which did not get any other orders filled, unfortunately. This one was really close. But I mean, we technically did bounce around here and then head forward, so it is what it is. We'll leave that there for now. Great. Let's talk about news because I have so much to talk about, like I said. So, starting off, we had news on September 1st, which was the day I streamed, but this came out after I finished my stream, was the announcement that Trump will be making an announcement from the Oval Office on Tuesday, so yesterday, at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And he finally did it. He did his live stream. He appears on it for his announcement after a week-long absence. And I don't know, this was a little crazy because people were saying, oh, is Trump dead? We haven't seen him for a week now. There's been no interviews, no press releases, no photos, no videos of Trump taken, only like very blurry photos from a very long distance from some reporters where he was at his golf course. But some people say, oh, maybe that's fake, maybe that's AI, maybe it was not believable by a lot of people. So I guess this was necessary to kind of shut those people up, in my opinion. So there he is. He appeared finally. It was also like people still got skeptical because it said the announcement was supposed to be at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And it actually happened at like 2:45. I was also waiting to see what he had to speak about. So, and people were saying, oh, like, why are they delaying him? Like, does he have to take some sort of medication, or I don't know, he's an old guy, right? So people are speculating, like, is he well with his health? That kind of thing. And, well, there you go. He eventually appeared live on TV, so everybody got, have this kind of reaction, I guess. Tim Walz was even practically declaring Trump had passed away, right? Modern Democrats have pushed for their vicious rhetoric so far that many of them no longer feel constrained by common decency. In fact, when it comes to venting their unhinged hatred of President Trump, Democrats long ago cast aside boundaries. Tim Walz called out for appearing to wish for Trump's death. Gross and vile. Yeah, you got the point. So, like I said, it was necessary for Trump to come out and talk about literally anything. They asked him about it, like, during that press, what do you call it? That live stream, right? And they said, hey, have you looked at social media at all? People were saying that you like died or something. It's like, what? No, I'm not dead. I haven't looked either way. It's like, and what's the point anyway? You guys back in the Biden days never saw Biden for months and nobody said a thing, right? And that is true, right? Like half the time we're like, what is Biden even doing? Biden's doing nothing. We see him occasionally like fly to Europe to give money to Ukraine, but like that's about it, really. We never see Biden. Yeah, so. And the old thing as well that Trump was old, I guess it backfires because we kind of said the same thing about Joe Biden, that, oh, Joe Biden is too old, he's not fit for office. And now people are pushing that same kind of thing towards Trump. So there was that whole dilemma, but that's behind us now. Moving on. So this was what was announced is that the US Space Command headquarters will move to the beautiful locale of a place called Huntsville, Alabama, forever to be known from this point forward as Rocket City. So it's basically a relocation of the US Space Command headquarters. And that kind of news was leaked a bit early, I think, because people were already speculating on this kind of stuff. They were like, oh, the announcement's going to be about some NASA thing, right? So, yeah, cool. Trump has officially directed the Space Force HQ to be stationed in Huntsville, Alabama. It makes sense given its proximity to NASA. And the icing on the cake is that it will create 30,000 new jobs in the state. So that was basically all the announcement. We had some stuff going down in China where world leaders are meeting, specifically Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, and Xi Jinping from China himself, right? They discussed a lot of cool stuff, and one of the main things, of course, was this televised propaganda. I don't know what you'd call it, but just a show off of all the military and kind of their partnership together as world leaders. Apparently, this was also discussed, though, just on a side note, prospects of immortality. Bloomberg released footage of the Russian and Chinese leaders during their meeting, including a translation of their remarks. Xi Jinping said, "In the past, people rarely lived to 70. But today at 70, you're still a child." Putin says, "With advances in biotechnology, human organs can be continually replaced, allowing people to live longer and even achieve immortality." Interesting stuff that they're talking about. Xi Jinping says, according to projections, there's a chance to live up to 150 years in this kind of century. Keeping in mind as well that these guys are 72 years old, discussing immortality. Do they plan to be leaders of their country for another 70 years? I don't know. Funny stuff, right? So anyways, that was just on a side note. The main thing was just to show off the whole nuclear arsenal, their drones, their guns, their soldiers, all that stuff. China staged the largest military parade in its history, including nuclear weapons and its full arsenal on display. On the grandstand, we see Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, a message to the world, strength and unity on full display. Of course, Trump didn't take kindly to this kind of stuff, and he released a statement saying the following: "The big question to be answered is whether or not President Xi of China will mention the massive amount of support and blood that the United States of America gave to China in order to help it secure its freedom from a very unfriendly foreign invader." I'm pretty sure they're talking about Japan. I could be wrong. I don't know a lot about history. Many Americans died in China's quest for victory and glory. I hope that they are rightfully honored and remembered for their bravery and sacrifice. May President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great and lasting day of celebration. Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America. So yeah, he didn't take it very kindly. And the context for US helping China is indeed, yeah, Japan, Pearl Harbor, 1941. Yeah. So that's what he's referring to. Okay, interesting. Indirect threat. Speaking of Putin and everything, right? What's the updates? What do we know about Ukraine war? Will that end? The answer is probably and probably not. Putin said, you know what? If meeting with Zelensky is well prepared, then I'm ready to meet. Let Zelensky come to Moscow and the meeting will happen, says Putin. Alright, well, first of all, that is not going to happen. I don't think Zelensky is going to risk going to Moscow. A world leader going into his enemy's capital city after they're, bombing and killing each other's soldiers. They should probably meet somewhere else. I don't know what is this whole fascination about, Putin has also invited Trump to come to Moscow to have the next, discussion, the next meeting, proposal for a ceasefire, whatever the case may be. Also, for now, it seems like Russia does not want to end the war. They are clearly winning. They're still overpowering Ukraine. Ukraine is kind of running out of resources, running out of money, running out of people, manpower, that kind of deal. So it's all like, will this actually end or not? So yeah. that's where it's at for now. Of course, I don't expect Zelensky to accept this at all. But hey, at least he is willing. I mean, Putin is willing to meet with Zelensky if the meeting conditions are right. But of course, one of them, I don't know if he's saying it for satire, has to be in Moscow. Come on, that's probably not going to happen. Who knows? An update on the Fed and projections and what the Feds are talking about in terms of rate cuts and crypto, all that stuff. Here's what's going on. The Fed will be hosting Payments Innovation Conference next month. The Fed conference will be to discuss stablecoins, AI, and tokenization. Important stuff. We also have the chairman, French Hill, says the crypto market structure bill, the Clarity Act, has overwhelming bipartisan support, and he hopes to get it done in the next few weeks. That's the kind of catalysts we need to give us that pump. Hopefully, I don't know. But, you know, the passing of these bills, crypto-friendly regulation, good long-term, that kind of deal, should be good, I hope. I hope the catalyst is good enough. Tariffs. United States has collected $31 billion in tariff revenue in the month of August, which is the highest monthly total this year. I think it's working. That is a lot of money. We also had Fed Governor Waller, who seems to be in favor of rate cuts, saying that over the next 3 to 6 months, we could see multiple cuts coming in. That is good. And of course, you know, by then, Powell should leave, who seems to be the one against rate cuts. Lisa Cook case, I think, is still going on. She might leave soon. She's technically, quote unquote, been fired by Trump. So we're expecting, hopefully, to get somebody else appointed to replace her that will be in favor of cutting rates as well. We need those feds to vote to cut the rates. And September seems like this month, by the way, likely that we will be getting those rate cuts. We also had some economic data come out today. JOLTS job openings, which I usually play off as irrelevant most of the time, but for whatever reason, I think it gave a slight boost to the crypto market because it helped with the rate cut projections. And you know what? I'll cave. I'll show the rate cut projections. Because I am interested either way to see what the percentage is. 96.6%. That is time for us to pump, right? I don't think we hit this kind of percentage even on this day right over here when when Jerome Powell gave his Jackson Hole speech and was very dovish about it all. So we deserve to be at 117,000, same level as where we were beforehand. What's the deal, right? Why are we not there yet? That's my stance on it all. Lower than expected JOLTS data, which was, 181 million versus 7.38 million. It suggests a cooling US labor market, which could increase chances of Fed cuts. This often supports risk assets like crypto by encouraging investment. However, market reactions vary and other factors like global events play a role. Overall, many see it as a positive signal. So I do too. That's part of the reason why I think today is a green day for crypto, because we did get that nice boost. Markets are not yet pricing in multiple rate cuts. I agree with that stance because, like, what is this? We were at a worse percentage over here. We're at a better percentage down here. You guys are not bullish enough. Governor Waller, we just saw that he supports multiple cuts in the coming months. U.S. job openings came in lower than expected. Why are we bearish? Right? I think it's time we start pumping. We also have, so the Congress summer thing has already passed. Congressmen are back in office. What was delayed in the past is now being brought up once again. Things like what happened with the Epstein files and what's happening with banning stock Congress trading, right? You know, the Pelosi Act, that kind of stuff. Speaker Mike Johnson just said that he supports a ban on congressional stock trading, but he hasn't pushed for it because others feel differently. He said lots of members of Congress rely on the outside source of income. This mainly has to do with all that insider trading stuff. I don't support the ban on congressional stock trading, and I know this may sound controversial, but this is just for my own benefit. I know these insider traders are benefiting themselves, but I I would just modify how it's done because they have to report it, right? They have to report when they file a purchase in a stock or a company, any stuff like that, right? And they have 14 days to do it. I think that is too long. I think they need to do that, like, I don't know, give it 3 days or at least a week, right? Give us that information because that way we all know what they're doing and we're like, hey, this Congress person sits on the head of this department and they purchased a suspicious stock that has to do exactly with that kind of industry. They probably know something. And I mean, come on. I have made some money by copying congressional stock trades, so not saying that you should do it all the time because they can be wrong, but I mean, just look at Nancy Pelosi. There was also this other congresswoman. What is her name? Ilhan Omar or something? She usually makes like, what was it? Like, she had a net worth of 300,000 like 2 years ago or something. Now she's worth like a couple $1,000,000. And it's like, okay, well, where did you get that money from? We also see a lot of Congress people committing Stock Act violations where they don't report it or they report it too late. That kind of stuff is caught by Quiver Quantitative and always sharing that information. I feel like it's useful. It helps us, gather our bearings and, where things are at. I think it's just beneficial for us as long as they also disclose what they're purchasing. The purchases they file. But we have a lot of Congress people also pushing for a ban on it. So I don't know. I'd be neutral to it because like I don't fully rely on it at all. Like I'm capable of making my own decisions when trading, but it's just helpful to see what these guys are doing and it, rings that bell. It's like, hey, pay attention to this sector. Maybe something important will happen there. That kind of deal. So that's what I have to say about that. Anyways, back to, Congress people coming back from their summer vacation. Thomas Massie, also, this got delayed, it seemed like, but the push to release the Epstein files in full has now been released. Some Congress people, a lot of them have already signed it, and some have not yet. I think he also mentioned in another tweet, where is it? Epstein survivors deserve justice and Americans deserve transparency. White House helping me secure a vote to release all Epstein files is a hostile act. Okay, wait, what? No. I was looking for one specifically that has to do with Mike Johnson as well. Here it is. I think. Speaker Johnson just scheduled a meaningless vote to provide political cover for those members who don't support our bipartisan legislation to force release of Epstein files. It was something like he said, hey, if you don't help with releasing these files, Speaker Johnson, you got some explaining to do, that kind of deal, right? Like, keep in mind, Thomas Massie is Republican, and he's going against his own party, but he's still encouraging a lot of people to vote to get those Epstein files released. Right? Oh, I think it was from Quiver Quantitative who also mentioned something. Here it is. 181 members of Congress have signed Thomas Massie's discharge petition to force the release of the full Epstein files. This includes 4 Republicans, so Nancy Mace, Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Thomas Massie, right? Of course, the Democrats, I believe, will be voting for this, I think. They need 218 signatures. They have 181 so far. That's pretty close. I don't know exactly how much in total there are. I'm not too well informed on that, but yeah. Also for Congress stock trading, Anna Paulina Luna is pushing for that, and of course AOC is as well. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Interesting stuff to look at. And on top of that, apparently they did release like Epstein files again, but it's apparently the same thing that we've already seen. And they also released the missing 1-minute footage from the 1 minute that was missing. If you guys don't recall, they released the security camera footage, one of them at least, the only one that kind of indirectly points to Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell the night that he committed unaliving. It went from like, where was it? Like 23:58:59, and then it went to 0 o'clock, right? it skipped the 59th minute. I don't know if that makes sense. And people were like, why did you delete that 1 minute of footage? And they gave some lame excuse. Pam Bondi said, oh, it's like every night the security camera footage resets and it happens at that very minute and it results in 1 minute being skipped of time where, you know, there's basically one full minute that's not recorded. But apparently there is now, and they found it out here. There was huge controversy around that the first time they did the wave of releasing the Epstein stuff and then claiming at the end that nothing happened and releasing this footage as proof. People went into the metadata and figured out, hey, this was edited by like Adobe Photoshop like 4 times. You guys did some video editing to this. Suspicious. And there was also 1 minute missing. What happened during that 1 minute? Well, they released a full 1 minute and nothing really happened other than a person walking around over here. Imagine if that has to do with like the killer or something. It's pretty funny, but hey, crucial stuff. There's no real evidence to take from this. So it's like, yeah, or maybe it's Hillary Clinton. That's what people were saying. I don't know if you guys saw the AI one of Hillary Clinton standing right here. That was pretty funny. Anyways, that's basically all we've got for that. What is Doug Ford doing? I talked about, what was this company? Crown Royal. I thought it was a casino. It's not a casino. I know I said that before in my stream, so L fact checked. It was not a casino. It's an alcohol company. They closed their stores in Ontario, and I think they moved to other locations because Ontario was just too expensive. Canadian economy bad. So he's like, okay, well, take this. I'm going to dump a whole bottle of liquor on the floor that belongs to your company. And it was it was funny because it's like pouring out so slow that he would expect it to just dump the whole thing in one go, right? But it was just so slow and it was just funny. Clown moment, that's all. All right, moving on. That's all for geopolitics, I guess. Crypto news. I talked on Monday about, you know, that joke, betting my whole bank account that Michael Saylor would purchase Bitcoin because he did the chart thing on Sunday. He didn't post this on Monday because it was Labor Day. Tuesday I couldn't stream, so today I shared that yes, he indeed purchased $449 million worth of Bitcoin at an average price of 110. That's a pretty good buy. So that's all for that. In terms of Ethereum, let's talk about Ethereum here. Bitmine also purchasing a lot. This guy is like the Michael Saylor of Ethereum. And I don't understand why, but it is what it is. It's cool, I guess. He's buying a lot of Ethereum. We need that. His company, Bitmine, this is Tom Lee, by the way. I don't remember if I said his name. He holds now $8.1 billion worth of Ethereum, which is actually like 1.5% of Ethereum's total supply. This guy's just eating it all up. We've got more, of course. We know SharpLink is also accumulating. They now hold a total of $3.62 billion. It's a pretty significant amount as well. And Jack Ma, well, his company, Yunfeng Financial, buys 10,000 Ethereum worth $44 million. If you don't know who this guy is, he's like the mentor to Justin Sun from Tron. And this guy's based in China. So, institutional FOMO, you know, it's good stuff. We need that. But why don't we see huge rises in the price of Ethereum? People are blaming the market manipulation and Ethereum Foundation for selling. There's also some technical analysis. People are making stuff like this. They're expecting Ethereum to drop from here to the 21-week exponential moving average, and then we can go to new all-time highs, which, I mean, if that is the case, you're looking at a drop of up to 3,400, 500. I think that's a little too bearish. I don't think we're going to drop that far. Below 4,000, it's going to be a struggle with all this institutional buying. So I disavow that. But it is true that the Ethereum Foundation themselves are selling off. Although it might not be too much, but it's still, you know, it cancels out, like, for example, what Jack Ma, was that his name? Is purchasing, right? He purchased 44 million. Ethereum sells $42 million worth of Ethereum. sending it to Kraken after confirming plans to sell in small batches. I said smell. So that's what this whole means. ETH starts pumping, the Ethereum Foundation sells ETH every time. It's this whole cycle. So there's also like the whole order book situation, like, oh, what are people doing? Hyperliquid whales are massively longing Ethereum. Can we see the leverage? Yeah, 25x, 10x, crazy amounts of leverage, and this is millions of dollars worth in each, right? 6 million, 4 million, 1 million, 2 million, etc. Perfect fuel for an Ethereum long squeeze is what people are saying. It's gonna suck, but I think, yeah, that might indeed happen. But hey, they got millions anyway, so I'm sure they can tolerate it. That's why I, for now, stay out of Ethereum. Not saying that it's gonna crash or anything. I still think it's gonna be good overall, but at these prices, to buy at these prices, I'm not interested. Ondo launches global markets on Ethereum. It's finally happened. This happened yesterday, really. They mentioned September 2nd was going to be the day. 105 tokenized stocks and ETFs are now tokenized on-chain via Ondo GM, with hundreds more to follow. So great, RWA stuff. And this is Nathan Ullman, the CEO of Ondo, giving his take on it all. I don't even know if I should read all of this. It's so much, but maybe Grok can summarize. It's finally here. It's been years in the making. Since announcing it last year, we've been seeing many other tokenized stock offerings enter the market, but the big breakthrough hasn't yet happened. Why? Two things: accessibility and liquidity. Ondo Global Markets introduces a novel tokenized stock platform with instant minting and burning of tokens for stablecoins, addressing liquidity issues faced by competitors like X stocks, which we'll be discussing as well. Whatever. The platform's freely transferable tokens outside the US contrast with walled gardens like Robinhood and Securitize, leveraging Ethereum smart contracts to enable 24/7 global trading. A shift backed by Kraken's 2025 report on tokenized equities enhancing market accessibility. By the way, Kraken also does this, and Robinhood in Europe. Concerns from token holders about Ondo's utility highlight a potential gap as the focus on stock tokenization may overlook governance token value, a critique echoed in decentralized finance. Okay. Let me see if there's... Most tokens are capped at $200,000 per trade, or 100,000 off hours. Yeah, because you're going to make it too volatile, so they got to keep it low. Low volatility tokens are allowed up to 1 million. Oh, okay. Multiple trades can be submitted for large orders. The scale limits substantially as the system proves itself. Markets should be open, liquid, and global. With Ondo GM, that feature is here. So, great. Cool. You still got to pay tax on that, though, so that's probably why I wouldn't do it. But it's still good. I'm happy to see it. Day one of something huge. American BTC, the company founded by Trump Jr., Eric Trump, and Hut 8, has finally released, I think. It went public and put America first in crypto. Massive props to Eric and who is this? Asher Ganut. He's the CEO of Hut 8. Okay, cool. And the entire ABTC team for leading the charge and taking ABTC public just months after launch. American Bitcoin, right? So I think it's finally out. I tried looking this stock up before. Obviously, I didn't find it. But now, ABTC, it exists. Oh, it's been existing. No, this is not it. American Bitcoin. Never mind. I don't think it exists. Or maybe it does exist, but it's just not publicly traded. It says it's public. What are you... What? This is more about Bitcoin. It's about restoring transparency, accountability, and trust to the American financial system. ABDC is on a mission to build the largest Bitcoin reserve in America. Cool. If Trump won't do it with the government, at least his sons will do that. When our shareholders win, America wins. A new era for Bitcoin starts now. Is ABTC on this list? I don't think so. But hey, another institution that will be buying Bitcoin in loads, so that is good. Now to talk about World Liberty Financial. Speaking of, you know, the Trump family and all that. Let me take a sip of tea, one sec. Great, I just spilled red tea on my white shirt. What do I do? It was hot. Whatever. I'm sure the washer will do a good job at cleaning this. It's a white shirt, though. That's what scares me. Whatever. I'm midstream. We have so much still to talk about. Okay. So, what happened with World Liberty Financial? Big stuff that happened on Monday. Day one listings across top decentralized and centralized exchanges. Zero tokens moved early. Early retail prioritized above founders. Still trading above 20 cents. Yeah, 20 cents. Despite the 6 billion plus in volume, there have been no team sales, only pre-sale unlocks, 20%. Circulating supply, which is about 25%, is stable and future-proof is what they're saying. The Treasury is well-funded to scale USD1 and World Liberty Financial. Justin Sun, fueling World Liberty Financial, he announced that he is not selling, and World Liberty Financial yield on HTX is what he's got. And World Liberty Financial purchased $2 million on-chain and burned $47 million in tokens. No, they burned 47 million tokens, not dollars, sorry. So, no tokens move early. Security also, they blocked hacker attempts stemming from end-user compromises. It was not an exploit of World Liberty Financial. The following transactions show a World Liberty Financial designated wallet, excluding mass blacklisting of wallets identified as compromised, private key loss, prior to launch. So they're doing a good job with security, community first. There's good clarity. This stuff with Justin Sun, which I also covered on that day, saying that he is not selling and they've got good plans for the future. Circulating supply, covering liquidity seeding, alts, and treasury allocations for operations, incentives, and burns. This design minimizes future supply shocks and supports long-term stability. Isn't a supply shock good? Our World Liberty Financial Treasury is well capitalized to support growth for USD1. The alt strategy, like MicroStrategy with Bitcoin, it's to acquire and hold. Long-term alignment with World Liberty Financial, they will be obviously holding altcoins. I don't think they actually hold that much Bitcoin, if any at all. Pricing clarity, despite the $6 billion of volume, they're still pretty stable. I have not looked at the chart. And I have put my order back on there. I'll look at that. It's... Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong things. Here it is. Still one of the more traded assets in terms of volume. We are kind of dropping. I already took my small profit on it. I only put $250 in it. Made $100 in return. So very volatile, honestly. Really crazy. I decided to put my one trigger order just down here because it's like, screw you. If you fail, good, and move on. But it's whatever. And they purchased $2 million on-chain to demonstrate alignment and support the ecosystem with real capital. How long is this? Okay, expectations versus reality. Early supporters. Buyback and burn thing is still going. USD1 is really growing as a stable coin. Thank you to early supporters, to new holders. Welcome, and we're building the next era. Okay. So that's what they have to say about it. But what does the community have to say about this whole thing? World Liberty Financial releases 5 times the token on TGE that it initially stated. Anyone who bought pre-market is basically a bag holder now, right? Pre-sale buyers make a pathetic 6x, only allowed to sell 20% of their tokens on launch day. That's what a lot of people were complaining about as well. And also the Ethereum gas fees. It was pretty crazy. We were seeing stuff like this happened. Having to pay $100 plus in gas fees just to claim their tokens because Ethereum, you know? So here's an example. Ethereum is 10 years old and this kind of stuff is still happening. We're so absolutely back. That is so much in gas fees. That is crazy. And you still don't have enough ETH in your account. That's so funny. People are saying, oh, we ran simulations for the World Liberty Financial chart and they all look like this because, you know, that's what a lot of people are expecting with the Trump projects. Look at Trump meme coin, look at Melania meme coin. But like I said, I kind of disagree with this stance because those are meme coins. They're meant to, pump and dump based off of, like popularity or community, right? I would say obviously Trump's community is more popular than Melania's community, although they are both very unpopular at the moment. So, yeah. And insider activity detected on World Liberty Financial. Within hours, insiders started dumping. Price collapsed from 34 to 25 in less than 3 hours. I think we already covered some of this. Most of them had identical gas usage, same timing, scale was massive. Seems like a lot of course, insiders were trading. Retails pay the price, insiders take all the profit. Cycle repeats again with Donald Trump. So some people were not that happy, but others are, they still remain bullish overall. They're setting the record straight here with this post. There's confusion around the unlocked World Liberty Financial in this safe, which is where they have the rest of the tokens, I believe. World Liberty Financial is not planning to sell these tokens to the open market because that's 75% of the whole supply that they will be dumping onto the market. And that would crash this thing to, I don't know, what's 75% of 21 that it costs now. I'm doing this math wrong. It should be 25% because that's what's remaining. It would drop it down to 1 cent. Basically where you started, where the early investors started, they would be all the way back down there. So that would not be ideal to release the 75 billion tokens out there. So they're saying that the allocation is only controlled by the community on governance votes. So they're gonna, hold votes occasionally, say, hey, we're planning to do a fundraiser for this or whatever. We need some more tokens. Would you guys agree to release X amount of tokens into the market so that we could fund whatever the case is? And they'll be like, yeah, sure, do it. We're fine with that. It'll help the project in the long run. Something similar to what we're seeing with Sonic right now. So it's all gonna depend on votes, right? If the people want it, they'll vote for it and they'll proceed with releasing tokens. If not, I mean, depends. I trust the people will vote for the right thing, but started off with 10 billion World Liberty Financial tokens. Yesterday they burned 47 million. Their current balance is 9.95 billion tokens. Every one of these tokens is subject to governance, not team discretion. What could governance choose to do? Okay, so it tells you right here. There's grants, incentives that could be paid for builders, market maker programs, I think, or integrations. You could have strategic reserves, partnerships aligned with long-term growth. Like I said, that's something similar to what Sonic is doing. And any other community-endorsed initiatives. Any action with these tokens will be on-chain proposal and a community vote in order for that to take effect, right? So that I agree with. That makes sense. But it depends what it's used for and if it will help pump World Liberty Financial further in the future. So that's why it's got to be important. Speaking of Justin Sun, I should have put this post earlier since now he's irrelevant at this point of the stream, but he sent $1 million worth of World Liberty Financial to exchanges. I thought he wasn't selling. So it's like, anyway. Maybe he's just taking $1 million in profit because, I mean, he deserves to take some profit. He has... No, wait, this is not right. Is it right? Because I did some math. Unless it was 750 million that he has, I think it was 750,000 that he has. I'm confusing my numbers here probably, but if he has 1 million, I think that's the whole thing. How much does Justin Sun have? No, I'm gonna look it up. Justin Sun. Does it say how many tokens he has? Oh my gosh, this guy's reposting everything on his timeline. Okay, here he says he has no plans to sell his tokens anytime soon. It doesn't say here, but I'm pretty sure I covered how much it was before. whatever. If that's true, then he's just contradicting himself by saying he's not going to sell, but he's sending it to exchanges. Maybe to send it to a cold wallet, but I don't think they'll accept it. Like, it doesn't make sense. Unless World Liberty Financial belongs to Ethereum, which I believe it does. That's why that explains the gas fees being super high once again, right? The gas fees go up because of the volume, or like the amount of network transactions that are being made. It's too much for the ecosystem to handle, so they raise the fees, right? It's kind of what's been going on with Ethereum. So now we know as well they burned $47 million in tokens, and Andrew Tate also, bad trader on this stuff. Remember, he lost almost $600,000 on an ETH long 25x. He got liquidated in 2 hours. Pretty sure that also had something to do with maybe James Wynn. He shorted Yeezy, Kanye West's meme coin, right before it pumped 1,400%. He got destroyed in minutes. He deletes his posts after losses while sharing referral codes, you know, his daddy coin and all that stuff. He's made over 80 trades that we know of with a win rate of 36%. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Depending on your risk-reward ratio, I don't know. He got liquidated on World Liberty Financial as well for almost $200,000. He lost $68,000. In total, he practically lost $1 million in 3 months. But I don't think he cares. He's a multimillionaire, so he can probably eat it all up. And he's doubling down. After his loss of $67,000 on World Liberty Financial, he entered with another long. His total World Liberty Financial trading losses now sit near $700,000 as per Hyperliquid data. Will his gamble finally pay off, or is he chasing losses? It's pretty funny. Yeah, anyway. I think I'm safe with my order down here. If it does get filled, good. If not, whatever. It's such a volatile coin, though. Like, this could moon any second, or it could just crash like crazy. Speaking of crashing, there's a company called Clean Core Solutions. They dropped 59% on the news that it is becoming the first Dogecoin treasury company. Okay, what? And also 59%? That is pretty harsh. Does this actually exist? Zone, is that the ticker? Zone. Great. Clean Core Solutions. Oh my god, it's real. Yeah, this candle's a 48% candle. And not even including the whole drop. It went from almost $8 to $2. What? That is insane. Just because they announced that they're going to be the first Dogecoin treasury company. That is crazy. $175 million deal today to establish the official Dogecoin treasury with the Dogecoin's Foundation commercial. This is so funny. The closing is expected September 4th, so tomorrow. Okay, hey, if you really like Dogecoin, now's your chance. And we didn't even hit oversold. Are you crazy? We kind of did over here. I mean, I guess this candle closed over here. We're expecting oversold to be like down here, so maybe it did hit that originally. Look at that. I don't think I've ever seen this. It went from overbought, RSI 73, to like oversold practically immediately, RSI below 30. That is crazy. But hey, there you go. I don't know what this company does. It says cleaning. What? Cleaning products that produce pure aqueous ozone for professional, industrial, or home use. They got the fill station 1.0, 3.0, power caddy, mini caddy, ice treatment machine, O3 clean pack, commercial laundry, and residential laundry. Founded in 2022. All right. I don't know why they want a Dogecoin. Speaking of meme coins as well, Gavin Newsom, governor of California, Democrat, will also be releasing a meme coin apparently. He says it's going to be released to challenge the Trump token. It's going to be pretty funny. Maybe elections fought on the blockchain. Whoever has the higher market cap gets elected president. That's the way to vote. You vote with money. That should be the future. That would be really cool. We're getting through the news. That is impressive. Dutch National Bank hits OKX with a $2.6 million penalty for operating without proper registration. Not good for OKX, and they have their token. What is it, OKB or something? I don't trade it at all. I wonder if they've yeah, it's OKB number 33. If they got impacted at all in their price. No, they're pumping. What is this price action? What is this pump? In the daily chart, you see this. It's like, what? Okay, so I guess it's good that you get sued by a national bank. And then last thing for exchanges, Coinbase derivatives will be launching the Mag 7, which we know is Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Nvidia, Meta, Tesla, and crypto equity index futures on September 22nd. They will offer first combined exposure to traditional equities and cryptocurrency ETFs. IBIT is BlackRock. ETH I don't know what ETH is. Is that BlackRock as well? I guess I could kind of check here. Ethereum. Yeah, it is BlackRock. So there you go. Good stuff for Coinbase. Also getting involved with the stock trading. We also saw crypto.com get involved with trading stocks, but it's not tokenized, right? It's like traditional stocks, so they have hours of closing and stuff like that. Cool. That is indeed all for today. How did we end with Bitcoin? Well, we're at a loss. I jinxed myself at the beginning of the stream. No, we're not too bad. 111,800. Man, when this hits 135k target, it's gonna be good. And you're gonna recall a lot of people have their targets much higher. Like we're talking 150, 180, maybe even 200,000, 220,000 for this year. I don't think that's going to happen, honestly, but I'm going to play it safe. 135,000 at least is going to happen. We're expecting Friday non-farm payroll data and unemployment rate. That's going to be the most important thing. Today we got the JOLTS job openings at 10 a.m., which is the reason why we pumped today in summary. And that is all. Great. That concludes the stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm having a stroke here. I gotta go change my shirt or something. And yeah, have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow.